Everyone. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe in these times. So as of a couple of days ago, I'm officially joined Cubicle Academy as their coach for Big Cubes. I will be having two services, private lessons and solve analyses. And I'll also be having a joint private lesson and solve analysis combination at a 33% discount. So to kind of give you a bit of a background for what this entails, if you're kind of worried that, okay, well, am I still going to be putting out a lot of free content? Am I still going to be, sharing insights with everyone? None of that changes. I'm happy to help whoever wants to be helped, but, I'll be putting out a lot more free content going forward. Summer's coming up soon, and, I'll be busy during the weeks, but my weekends will be a lot more free. So I'll be having a lot more content out there just for general tips. But the purpose of these reports is to really have specifically targeted improvement, both in the short term and the long term for an individual solver. So in 3x3 solve analyses, a lot of it composes of breaking down yourselves. Well, as for big cubes, there are enough mistakes that can be fixed with similar tricks. And rather what I'll be doing is pointing out where those tricks lie, rather how to fix in, let's say, specific instances, but not every instance. And more importantly, referencing resources that will directly impact those parts of your solve or those kind of quirks you may have. So kind of what that would look like is, suppose you aren't really like you're using too many slice moves. Let's say that's stopping your finger trick. I'll say, okay, well, here are a couple of solutions you could do it without the slice move, and then here's this resource by, let's say, I don't know, Felix, where he kind of gives it a walkthrough solve, and it comprises of a lot of cases you're doing. So it's very targeted, and that's kind of the short-term case. And there's also a long-term case, which is like, suppose once you're past this barrier, what is your solve going to look like? How do you kind of get back to equilibrium? Because I'm going to be targeting your weaknesses a lot more in your critique than your strengths, because I think most solvers that are out there would be, let's say, above 3 minutes, at which point, it's very clear where you're lacking and where you're strong. And I will be focusing on kind of how to fix that, while at the same time not losing your strengths, but it might also result in a bit of confusion. So I'll be kind of giving insight into how to get over that. So my purpose of this report is to drop your times by as much as possible. For instance, I actually just had a sample coaching session with my friend Jarek Lee, and within the past month, he dropped from about 350 to 315 on 7x7. So that's a 35-second drop in a month. The purpose of my report was to directly give him that jump. I'll also be looking at each part of yourself and kind of looking at how certain skills you may have in one part may relate to other parts. So for example, if I notice that you are flowing well on centers, and you're flowing well on edges, but on centers, the cost of efficiency is a lot more, I will point out that, don't forget about your flow, but, when you're solving centers, you may want to think about it a little differently. You may want to think a little bit about giving up some of that flow, but in edges, you don't really want to be doing that. You want to be focusing on that flow. So I'll be giving a little bit more big picture analysis as well of yourselves. As for the private lessons, so I would really recommend, if you were to do a private lesson, to take the analysis and private lesson combination, as I feel that the private lesson would really be a great way to kind of tackle some of your questions you have after looking at that report for a bit and kind of taking that to the next step. So what this means that, you'll start practicing any basic questions, just send me an email, but anything kind of a little more, a lot more complicated, a lot more big picture oriented, that would require a longer answer. We can discuss that during the lesson, and we can kind of target them step by step. Really, it's like we can do whatever you'd like, but I think that would probably be, the best use of your money and your time, to kind of like use as almost like a very intensive Q&A. And it's almost going to be like we will have a series of notes generated at the end of the lesson to kind of see how we can grow your plan going forward, and how that would really improve. So yeah, I'm thrilled to be part of this project. Definitely reach out if you would like to participate, and look forward to interacting more. Thank you.